Now, the China-India-Africa triangular relationship is becoming one of ever-growing global importance. And it's no secret that it will have a profound effect on the global economic landscape in the 21st century. The World Bank has recently published a book titled Africa's Silk Road, China and India's New Economic Frontier. It looks at trade and investment between the three countries, rather the two countries and the continent. The author, Harry Broadman, is here in studio with us. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You are an economic advisor for the World Bank to Africa. Now, according to the study, what would you recommend for the continent?
Well, I think, the opportunity provided to Africa by China and India's investment is perhaps a very important one for growth and development on the continent. But what is required is for Africa to put in place certain reforms so as to maximize the net benefits from these new investment and trade opportunities. So too do China and India have to put in place certain reforms.
Reforms? What kind of reforms are we talking about on each side?
Well, there is to some extent trade reforms that need to be taken into account. First, lowering tariffs, rationalizing and consolidating the existing regional trade agreements in Africa. On the Chinese and India side, there are market access problems. There are high tariffs in China and India that are choking off some of the most potentially leading exports by Africa. But the lion's share of the reforms that need to take place are in Africa, the so-called behind-the-border reforms, domestic reforms that would allow their economies, the domestic economies in Africa, to be more competitive.
Can you give us any practical examples?
Sure. Improving governance, making more transparent and accountable public expenditures, making the economies more flexible so that workers can move from sunset industries to sunrise industries, so that firms that are no longer efficient can move to industries where there is higher value added in production. These are the kinds of flexibilities that are needed.
Sunrise industries, sunset industries, can you define those, please?
Well, sunset industries are industries where Africa or other regions of the world no longer have a comparative advantage. For instance, it's likely to be the case that in the face of Chinese competition, which even the U.S., my country, faces, means that African countries probably need to rethink competing head-on with China in mass market retailing of textiles, rather looking more at niche markets. Also, Africa is emerging as a place where back office services can be exported. In Ghana, it's very clear from the book, the evidence that we've marshaled, that in Ghana there are back office services being exported just as they are in India. This holds great promise for Africa.
Now, Africa is not a homogeneous region, unlike China and India. So how would this affect the current relationship, the reforms that need to be put in place, etc.?
Yeah. Actually, China and India are not homogeneous either, but the point is well taken about Africa. In fact, what we show in this book is that today, about 30% of the African population outside of the non-oil countries have been in countries where growth in the last decade has been at least 5% per annum, if not more. This means that there is tremendous diversity within Africa. There are genuine success stories in Africa. And this is important because it means that the laggards on the continent can learn from those countries who have, in fact, been successful in leveraging trade to greater growth behind the border.